Come join Rosie and me as we sail on Celebrity Equinox, January 8th through the 20th, 2014. Our round-trip Fort Lauderdale cruise included ports of call of St. Thomas, St. Kitts, Barbados, Dominica, and St. Martin. Wednesday, January 8th, with a temperature of 8 degrees below zero, we left Milwaukee via Southwest Airlines. We had a 2-night pre-cruise stay at the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina. Our room was in the tower and had a balcony facing Port Everglades. We had dinner and drinks at the hotel bar. Thursday morning, there were 2 ships in port and lots of activity on the intercoastal waterway. We met fellow cruisers Bob and Sandy for breakfast and then went to the wine store. We had lunch and drinks at the hotel bar with Bob and Sandy as we waited for fellow cruisers Carol and Angie to arrive. At 4 o'clock, we watched Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas depart from Port Everglades. At 5 o'clock, we went to the Bimini Boatyard for a pre-cruise dinner with 20 members of our cruise critic group. Good morning! It's Friday, January 10th. It's cruise day, and the Celebrity Equinox is the only ship in port. Before we board the ship, let me tell you a little bit about the ship. The Celebrity Equinox debuted in August of 2009 and holds about 3,000 passengers. It is a very modern ship. The Equinox features a stable of themed dining venues consisting of Murano, the Tuscan Grill, Bistro on 5, and Silk Harvest. Outside on Deck 15 is a half-acre of spongy grass, surrounded by a glass-blowing studio with daily shows, and in the aft, the Sunset Bar. The ship also features an outdoor pool, an indoor pool, a Cellar Masters for the wine enthusiast, a casino, and a martini bar. Finally, there is a magnificent 2-story atrium, luxury shopping, a card room, a 2-story library, and a magnificent art collection. This ship has it all. Our Aqua-class cabin was located on Deck 11, on the front angle of the hump. Because of the location of our cabin, our balcony is 2.5 times larger than a regular balcony. 2 of the benefits of an Aqua-class cabin are the ability to dine in the Blue restaurant and a shower with a rainforest shower head and 6 shower jets. After boarding the ship at around 11, we met a group of Cruise Critic members for lunch at Bistro on 5. After lunch, we met Paul and Dawn at the Martini Bar to use our unlimited drink package. Here, the bartender is simultaneously pouring 6 martinis. At 4 o'clock, shortly after the lifeboat drill, we met the Cruise Critic members on Deck 15 for the sail away. Many of us were wearing pink shirts or pink feathered boas because we are members of the pink Boa Cruisers. During the sail away, our group was featured on the Port Everglades webcam. We had dinner in the Tuscan Grill with a group of other Cruise Critic members. Saturday was a sea day, and our group activity started at 10:30 with a Cruise Critic meet and mingle and gift exchange. Rosie and I spent much of the day on our balcony watching the world go by. In the later afternoon, a group of us got together for drinks. We had dinner in Blue with Bob and Sandy, Joyce and Jerry, and Carol and Angie. After dinner, we joined Dawn and Paul for drinks at the Martini Bar. Good morning, Sunday, January 12th, another sea day. Our big group event for today was a slot pull with over 35 participants. Sandy was the official counter. For the slot pull, each participant put $15 into the machine and got 5 spins. At the end, we divided the money equally. We each got back $12, but we had big-time fun. If you're looking for exquisite fine dining in a distinctive setting with stellar service, then Murano is for you. We joined Dawn and Paul and Holly and Henry for impeccable service, classic design, world-class cuisine, and comfortable sophistication in Murano. We experienced tableside lobster preparation and Chateaubriand for 2. Murano is the best dining experience at sea that I have ever had. Good morning, January 13th, St. Thomas, the high today, 80 degrees. A group of Harley owners from Quebec brought their bikes with them. As soon as we docked, the bikes were unloaded. For our shore excursion, Rosie and I, along with Dawn and Paul, walked to the greenhouse for drinks and appetizers. On the way back, we walked through the yacht club. At 5 o'clock, it was time to leave St. Thomas. We had a wonderful day on St. Thomas and at the greenhouse. Good morning and welcome to St. Kitts. We're docked and off come the Harleys. A few early morning showers gave way to beautiful weather in the afternoon. Our shore excursion for today was the Sky Safari Zipline. The Sky Safari Zipline is an exhilarating cable expedition through the St. Kitts rainforest. You ride in comfortable harnesses, reaching speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. There are 5 zips, with the longest ride being over 1,350 feet. The first zip on the course is very short and is used for training. No one in our group chickened out after the first zip, so our group loaded into the truck and headed up the mountain for the second zip. The next zip on the course is the longest, called the Boss, at 1,350 feet. Rosie went first, and I followed her with live video. That was premature. The last run on the course is a dual side-by-side zip line. It allowed me to film Rosie close up. We had a blast on the Sky Safari, and I highly recommend it. The clear skies on the way back to the ship allowed us to see the sister island of St. Kitts, Nieves. With a 3 o'clock departure time quickly approaching, it was time to load up the Harleys. Goodbye, St. Kitts. We had a wonderful time. Rosie and I had dinner in blue. Good morning. It's Wednesday, January 15th. We're on our way to a 9 a.m. port of call in Barbados. Our 10 o'clock shore excursion with a group of Cruise Critic members was on the Silver Moon 3, a catamaran that is limited to 24 people. During our 5-hour tour, we were able to snorkel over wrecks and swim with the sea turtles. Our tour also included a lovely buffet-style lunch, with drinks served freely throughout the entire tour. At our first stop, we snorkeled over 2 different wrecks. At our second stop, we snorkeled with the sea turtles. For our third stop, we dropped anchor near a beach, and it was time to get ready for lunch. Lunch included flying fish, barbecue chicken, mac and cheese, rice, and coleslaw. It was delicious. After lunch, we spent about an hour relaxing on the catamaran, having drinks, and swimming. Our tour was coming to an end. As we were heading back to the dock, we saw Dawn and Paul on their pirate adventure. We had a fabulous time with Silver Moon, and I highly recommend them. Sail away was at 6 o'clock by the light of a silvery full moon. Rosie and I had dinner in the Blue Restaurant. The art collection on the way to the restaurant is spectacular. Good morning, Thursday, January 16th, and welcome to Dominica. We're in another port, so it must be time for another Harley ride. The bikes are lined up and ready to go. Our 11-member group will be taking a shore excursion today with Levi Bern of Bumping Tours. We'll be going to the Indian River, one of the largest rivers on the island, and also the only one that's below sea level. When we arrived at the river, our group of 11 loaded into a rowboat with a guide for a trip up the Indian River. As our guide rowed the boat up the river, the scenery was mesmerizing. We saw birds and crabs and other assorted flora and fauna. Come along with us and enjoy the ride up the Indian River. After about a 45-minute ride, we came to the Indian River Bush Bar, where we had to try the bar special, Dynamite Punch. These are some photos from the area surrounding the bar. We're not sure if some of us had too much punch, but it was time to move on. Fortunately, our rowboat was right where we left it. It was time to get back in and start our return trip down the river. On our way back down the river, we passed one of the structures that was used in the filming of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Our tour was over, so it was time to say goodbye to our guide as we moved on to Cabritz National Park to tour Fort Shirley. As we walked toward the fort, Levi gave us information about the area. Once the site of the most impressive military installation in the West Indies, this 18th century fort was built to protect the north area of Dominica by the British and French respectively. Although the fort itself never saw a fight, it served well as a fortress and lookout point. Come tour the fort with me. With our tour of the fort complete, it was time to walk back to the van for our 1-hour ride back to the ship. I highly recommend Levi Bern and Bumping Tours. Sail away was at 5 o'clock. Rosie and I had dinner with a group of 6 in Murano. Good morning! Friday, January 17th. We're at my favorite island, St. Martin. We're taking the water taxi to the Holland Hotel, where we will use their beach for a relaxing day of sun and sand. Unfortunately, shortly after I took this photo, the rain moved in, so the girls retreated to their favorite jewelry store, Ray's. Ray's is known for spectacular deals on diamonds. He also serves free drinks. After all those free drinks, it was time for lunch at the Holland House Bar. The sun did come out, and we had a wonderful beach day before we headed back on the water taxi to the ship. The ice-cold towels that are provided before you enter the ship is a wonderful celebrity touch. Rosie and I had dinner for 2 in the Blue Restaurant. Good morning! Saturday, January 18th, our first of 2 sea days before we returned to port. Rosie and I spent most of the day relaxing on our balcony. Saturday night was formal night, and Rosie and I headed to the Blue Restaurant to say hi to our friends Ruth and Larry before we headed to the Tuscan Grill for our reservation for 2. As we were finishing our dinner, Joyce and Jerry, Sandy and Bob, and Carol and Angie came to the Tuscan Grill for their dinner. Rosie and I finished the evening at the Martini Bar. Good morning! Sunday, January 19th, our last sea day. Rosie and I spent the day on our balcony watching the ships go by, saying goodbye to old friends, and watching the NFL football games. In the late afternoon, Rosie and I packed our bags. We had dinner in Blue with Joyce and Jerry, Sandy and Bob, and Carol and Angie. Monday, January 20th, the day we all dread as cruisers. They're kicking us off the ship. It's time for us to go home. We were off the ship in no time, and at the airport at 8:30 a.m. for a 5:30 p.m. flight. The temperature back in Milwaukee was below 0, but that was okay, because we had memories to last a lifetime. Photos and video by Bill Raffle. Music by Kevin MacLeod.